cheese, my issue. My mama calling Deborah for help, her Aunt Lou. 4 kids, 2 adults, we here starving. My father got a job, he started, then departed. My mama broken hearted, I'm looking at her nauseous. It's time to hustle, regardless, I'm getting this party started. Like quarter beefs in a brown paper bag in the bush, cross the street with the pistol close to hand. Pray to God when it's time to bust it, it don't jam. I sold my 7 grams, police came, I ran.
I'm the first gospel rapper. I'm the first apostle rapper. From my section, it's a lot of rappers. Respected cause I'm not an actor. Even though I changed, I didn't change up. Kept the same name from when I came up. RPH and we here now. The devil got so much to fear. Culture mechanic. I left the hood to fix all the problems inside of advantage. Cause I'm from the hood. And stuff get fixed from the inside. Inside. That's why Christ became a man. I'm in Christ. I let the old me die and became a man. Yeah, deal with men, but I war with demons. Reciprocate that before Jesus encounter changed all the morbid reasons. I was more of a heathen with a gorgeous heater. Miracles follow me now. So when I walk through the crowd, virtue was hard to be found. In me, they calling me now. When the devil show up, everybody know us. We the pull-up crew. RPH, scars and grace, and we about to change with the hood up too. Yeah. If you watch me live my life, it's like reading the word. Check me out, I got stripes in the streets, in the church. I left the hood with some urban epistle. Urban epistle. I'm living the scripture, the word is official. Urban epistle. I left the hood with some but I came back with the word. I left the hood with a pistol, but I came back in a pistol.
Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you will have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because you got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you don't want it badder than you want to party, you don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success. You don't want it badder than... I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. I'm not eating like I eat at home. That's why you're about to go to the next level. Because if you keep eating like you ate at home, you'll keep being a boy or a girl. It's time to become man, woman.
Have you ever had a time you were just driving down the street, wondering if there was an app where I can get news that really matters, get motivated, and get inspired, and an app that can show me and teach me how to make money at the same time? I wish there was an app like that. An app that can be so personable with you that you can check out all the time. Unfortunately, we do not have that. We have a place where you can come, sit back, relax, get all the updated news, hear birthdays, hear events, hear positivity. A community that is here for everyone that wants to have that same thing, okay? There's no app, but what we do have is Hot Facts, live, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. through 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you there. Subscribe now.
Hey, this is KG Sports, and you're watching Hot Facts with Robert Reese.
What's good? It's Wood. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up out there? What's up, everyone? How are you doing? I know you guys normally see me 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Hot Facts with Robert Reese, people. This is still Hot Facts, people, but this is sports talk, okay? This is sports talk, people. This is Hot Facts with Robert Reese, okay? And we have here, people, what we have here, we have What's Good Wood. Now, you may have seen him hop in some of my interviews, people, as far as the chats. He says what's up. He does his thing. This is a close friend of mine, people. Been knowing the young man since we've been about 16, 17 years old. We're 40 years old now, people. We are 40 years old. So, what's good, Wood? Okay. I'll let him introduce his regular name, people, when he gets on a chance to hop on. But he is a boxing analyst, people, expert boxing analyst. He has been in the fight game for a long time, people. He does his thing. He does his thing. He says he can't hear me right there. Let me see. Let me try to go back to where you were. Go back to how you had it at first, where I can hear you. Oh, okay. Well, he fixes that. He just had it to where I was able to hear him, but he is a boxing analyst. He has been in the game for a long time. He breaks down the biggest fights, not just the biggest fights. He breaks down all of the other fights too. He knows his game. He knows his knowledge. He puts in a lot of time and a lot of work to be able to deliver. Now, there's a lot of boxing channels out there that have a huge amount of subscribers because they're actually the guys that run with the actual boxing camps. He's one of the guys that gets in there and does their thing, and he pretty much everyone that watches his channel and communicates with him, they are the main guys when it comes down to breaking down boxing on anything. So he is part of the team. He is part of the team. This is the Hot Facts boxing analysis. He is a very busy guy, so whenever we can get him in, it is a very, very great thing. Now, we do have some fights coming up this weekend that are very, very, very important. We will get over those. We will go over those things there. I'm going to let you guys know the dates here. I'm going to put the dates down here on the scroll here so you guys can actually see the dates of these fights, the important fights that are coming up here. So we're going to go over some of these fights, and there is a fight that's not up there that we will be speaking about, people. Yes, that is right. Triple G and Canelo, Sal or Soul. I call him the real undercover brother. He's a redhead Mexican who's paler than anyone and brings that fire. He's the real undercover brother right there. Okay, he brings fire. Triple G brings fire. Virtually, these two are the indestructible. These are the Optimus Prime and the Megatron. These are the only two that actually know what it takes to beat each other from everybody else out there. So we will be going over that. Okay. We do have the NBA playoffs in. I don't like to talk basketball when it's first, second round, but we will get a prediction on who he thinks is going to win the NBA championship. Right now, we only have pretty much the Final Four right now, so it's good to get people's thoughts in on that. We'll do that, but we'll break down some things. And since my man is a fellow YouTuber, people, not just GigTube, he's a fellow YouTuber, people. So there's a couple questions I'm going to be asking him. And then after that, people, he's going to go through the questions on what he does as a customer when we show up to the door. We'll get actual live feedback from someone that is a customer who does their thing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring them up here on the stage How you doing, man? How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for having me on. I've been wanting to get on Hot Facts with Robert Reese for a minute, so I'm glad, very glad that we're doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. And the main reason why I wanted to get you on, though, is because, you've been in this game for a little while now. And I do know that that your niche that you're in, I don't know if you've ever checked your social blade grade. Have you ever checked your social blade grade as a YouTuber?
I never have, but when I was surveying the landscape of different boxing and MMA channels, I was social blading them. I have not social bladed myself, but I wanted to survey the landscape.
Okay, so I surveyed you. I surveyed you. You know, Hot Facts does its thing, and the best thing about this is, people, if you go check him out on Social Blade, you will actually see his. Everybody has their category on what their channel is. My channel has still not been classified yet. It's still. They don't know if it's news, entertainment. They don't know what it is yet. So he is under the sports category. So if you go check that out, you will see that he is ranked and a very, very, very good number there, people. So he is doing a great job. Now, if you're interested in trying to just see trash talk about boxing, that is definitely not what he does. We're talking about the ins and outs. You have to know who Willie Pep is if you want to sit down there and listen, okay? That's what we are talking about right there. People, Willie Pep went like 75-0 twice, okay, in his whole career, okay? So we talk boxing. He really talks boxing and really talks the fight game. Now, you want me to call you by your real name, or you want me to call you what's good? What would you
Wood
like
is
on here?
good. I know that you know me as Stanley or Stan as well. So yeah, Wood works Wood works too. So
Oh,
for the
okay.
sake of for the sake of the spirit of the channel, we can stick with Wood.
Yeah. That is what we are doing, people. Hey, you heard it from him yourself. So if you have a comment or anything about a fight, of any of these fights that we will be going over, just drop it in. People would. Now, people, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe his channel. Wait. People, you guys know I have a catchphrase. First one you get is the first one you take, because that could be the one to lead to something great. Now, let's go get it. Okay, people. Now, he also has an introduction that he does for his channel, and I'm gonna let him. Do his thing before I ask him a couple questions. Go ahead and do your intro when you start your videos off.
What's good? It's Wood. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you were into the fight talk.
Yes, people. If you are into the fight talk, and that is what we are going to be getting into now. First and foremost, okay. First and foremost. Now, you've been in the game longer than I have. You also have another channel. We'll go ahead and tap in on that also. Okay. Your boxing channel right now, or just getting into the YouTube game, how long did it take you to figure out what you wanted to do while getting on the platform? How long did it take you to figure out your lane on boxing as far as making a
It
channel?
actually Yeah, it actually took a few years. When I first started a YouTube channel, it was actually shooting live concerts at different venues throughout LA. So me and a friend, we would go to like the Echoplex, the Wiltern, the Regent, all of these different venues and shoot artists. Basically, it could be anything from an MC, rapper, or a rock band, and then I would edit the footage in Premiere Pro. So we've had a long running channel called Seen and Heard TV, and it was spelled SCENE and Heard TV. So all that footage is still up there. It's basically a ton of live music videos. 2017, around the same time I was managing these two warehouse spaces in South Los Angeles, right on Manchester and Broadway. So we basically had two adjacent concert, venue spaces that were both multi-level. We had everybody from like Post Malone when he was still coming up to Wiz Khalifa right after maybe about a year after Cushion Orange Juice. So we would just have this constant flow of activity. I would always have the camera out, and so I was just uploading a lot of those videos onto YouTube, basically creating more traction so we could book more events because I mean that's how we were like paying the bills in those venues. Once I exited those venues, I started a music channel. The music channel is called What's Good Wood. But then I've always had an irresistible urge to talk about boxing. I've watched boxing for like my entire conscious life. So I started kind of commingling the two, where some of the videos would be music talk and then other videos would be boxing talk. So then I decided, okay, you got to pick a lane because there's very little overlap on people who love music and love boxing. You're gonna alienate one or the other if you keep on doing it both ways like this. So then during COVID 2020, I'm like, okay, since people stopped releasing music for the time being, I basically said I'm gonna just make this a boxing platform and then start a music channel sometime down the line. So I would say 2020 is when it fully became a fight oriented channel. What's good was, but when it started, it was mostly a music channel. So, but the transition was in 2020.
Okay, all right. And since I do know you, I do know when when you go on your chat channel, if you go back to like when your channel was first up, you will see some music things there at first, and then people like he said, he actually has another channel for music. We'll tap into some of that a little bit. What's good, Wood? People, you type in the same name, people, you'll go ahead and find them there too. Talks about a lot of great music. I mean, music that a lot of people don't understand. Okay, so when we were younger, I was in musical productions, and then I also rapped. He also rapped too, people. So we used to trade bars and do these things. Big up to Lisa Tucker, also, people. You guys do not know Lisa Tucker from American Idol, people. Yes, 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 people. Stanley, go ahead and shout her out real quick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my little sister Lisa Tucker. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my little sister Lisa. She's living out in Nashville right now. But yeah, she was. It was interesting. It was a very surreal time, to be honest, for our family. Just to have her on those stages at the age of 16. At the time she did American Idol, she was actually the youngest contestant to ever be on the show. So she was season 5. This is 2006, the same year as Chris Daughtry, the year after Carrie Underwood, the same year as Catherine McPhee, Kelly Pickler. Those were the big names that year. So she was 16 years old at the time, and since she made the top 10 that year, she had the privilege of going on the tour at the end of the season, and it was like a 30 stop, some pretty crazy 30 stop tour or something like that. So yeah, that was quite an experience. And like a few years before that, she played young Nala when the Lion King came from New York to Los Angeles at the Pantages Theater. She was young Nala when she was like 10 years old. So it was a lot of like really cool opportunities that she was able to get because of her voice at a really young age. But yeah, I thought that was a very I knew that was like a very surreal experience. So I tried to appreciate it while it was taking place. And then she did a couple like TV shows like BET's The Game or CW's The Game. She had a few episodes on that. But yeah, what up to Lisa and to my brother Billy while we're at it. But yeah, those are I'm as close to them now as ever. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah, man. Now, people, what I did was I asked him to shout out his sister so you guys can actually see his musical intelligence so that you can actually go ahead and check out his channel. He broke down several names right there and really gave you guys a fire. That's exactly why I did that. So you can go ahead and subscribe to his other channel also. Okay, people, I know what I'm doing up here, people. This is no game up here. I came up here, people, brand new to your eyes, but I am no rookie, people. Now you went into, you said, and I know this too. You're going out shooting for all these venues, these events. Now you said from those events, that's what made you actually want to start doing your own content for the boxing, just having a camcorder in your hand and shooting things. And he said, man, I love boxing. Might as well just put that to work here. Okay. Now, when you put that to work there on boxing, okay, like before you put it there, did you have a game plan on how you were gonna actually do your how you were gonna set up your channel, how you were gonna do your delivery, if you were gonna have videos, or just did you think about any of that before, or did you just say I'm gonna just jump on in and just see how it goes?
I was nervous. I was very, very nervous going in. So for the first couple video, or actually first few videos, I actually just drafted the entire script basically. And I don't know if you could tell, but if you go to like one of the early videos, I'm reading. I'm making it sound kind of personable, and I'm, doing the right vocal inflections to make it sound like a conversation. But I was reading word for word to stick to a script because at the time, I didn't trust my ability as much as I felt like I knew about boxing. I didn't trust my ability to execute it in a way where it would be a fluid listen, and I just thought that it would sound extra awkward if I just came in and started rambling, which I often do. I naturally ramble. So the first several were scripted, and then I think it was around the time Anderson Silva had that kind of boxing fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This wasn't even very long ago that I went from that to totally off script to basically being able to work out an outline in my mind as far as being able to start it off by giving a brief synopsis of both fighters and then kind of go through their deeper history individually. First the A side fighter, then the B side fighter, and then after that, give the matchup analysis between the two and then finish it off with a prediction. So that was kind of the outline that I had worked out in my mind as a overall template. But then I just wanted to make sure that I checked all of the boxes as it pertained to each fighter as I was talking. So my fear was, if I do this without the script, well, then I'm going to leave out this, and I'm going to mistakenly leave out that, and not say everything that I meant to say. So I felt like I was better than I thought I would be at doing that. So once I went one episode without a script, I never went back to a script. I might take like a note or two, just a couple things to jot down, but once I felt like I could take the training wheels off, it felt pretty liberating. So yeah, going into it, I was pretty nervous, and that's why I used a script to kind of provide a crutch until I got my bearings worked out.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I do this here live. I don't write down anything, and especially when I'm doing my ride-alongs, I don't write anything down when I'm doing my ride-alongs, because it's like I feel I'm gonna leave something out if I write it down and go with a script on the ride along. So I go freestyle there. Like I go freestyle. Now let's say my phone rings in the middle of me doing something, then I'll just go right back and I remember right where I was, and then I'll just hit record again. Now, like when I'm doing live, there is nothing written down. Now, as far as like whatever news or whatever, I'll have like a little something to remind me so I don't go off track. You know what I mean? But like you said, once those training wheels are off, I don't go back to a script, because if you really think about it right now, if you go back to a script knowing how you can put the information out, it would really slow you down.
Yeah.
It would really slow you down. Yeah. Because there's a lot of variables when you're doing this. A lot of variables. Someone can say something and you hop like this. So writing it down, to me, it's never gonna go that way. Never. So I like to just let it come and let it come.
Yeah. So I knew that once I started doing a live, that it wouldn't involve a script. But since all of the preview videos are pre-recorded, right? So the process of doing each video was so much longer when I would basically be writing like a 3 to 5 page script, like just basically the whole story of the matchup of the fight, right? It would take a long time. I would just like one late night just start typing it out, just trying to get it right, editing it, and then be ready to like deliver it. That just took way too much time, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to crank out, multiple videos, because the editing takes longer than anything else. The editing for me takes, like, I'm talking about the video editing, takes longer for me than even thinking about what to speak on. So it was just too long of a process with the script, and I'm like, yeah, that's not sustainable. So yeah, I'm definitely glad that I reversed that.
Yeah, man. Now, once you said, okay, I'm about to do this, get away from the script. Now, how do you know what type of footage you want to put together for each boxer when you are breaking down? Like, are you just looking at let me just get some footage out there, or are you looking at specific footage so you can actually highlight your points when you're speaking or trying to bring the fight to life?
Yeah, I definitely try to. I try not to over edit. Sometimes I find myself, flashing the images sometimes a little bit too quickly, where you're trying to get an image to match or reflect what you're saying at the time. So then I'm like, okay, let's just find like a good balance where maybe every 5 to 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, the image changes. But yeah, basically, I want individual, promo shots of the fighter where you could tell that they were in a studio taking that shot, and then I want a couple action fights that kind of give a resemblance of their fight style. If it's somebody who likes to move around the ring, shoot the jab, kind of get a couple pictures with them at distance, preferably against fighters that we also know, just to create more familiarity in the visual. And then if there's a specific fight that in breaking a matchup down, I'm saying, okay, when such and such fighter fought this person, you could see that this other element of their game was able to be showcased. Then I would show images of that particular fight, and then so I would just pretty much go to Google, and then I have very technical naming conventions just to make them easy to find in my file directory. So I'm not trying to look all over the place for fighters. So basically, the second time I cover the same fighter, like for their next fight, I already have a lot of their photos stashed. So the search is a lot quicker, right? Because the only thing I need to get then is stuff from their most recent fight. And I also watch a lot of fights on my phone. I have like the DAZN app, DAZN. That's the platform that Canelo fights on, that Anthony Joshua fights on. So I have the DAZN app. I have the ESPN Plus app. So and obviously YouTube. I watch tons of historical fights on YouTube. So I'll just screenshot as I'm watching it. So if you got Shakur Stevenson as they're announcing his name, he's like kind of flashing his mouthpiece, getting ready, as Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr. is announcing the fighter, then I'll go ahead screenshot that. You know what I mean? Just because I think that would be a good visual of Shakur Stevenson when I'm when I'm generally talking about him.
All right, yeah. People, are you listening? So, people, look, when we get into this fight talk, you guys hear it. It wants to pop out his mouth so bad right now, people. We are going to get into that now. Your design, so you pretty much, it's like the news. It's you on one side, and then the still shot there. Now, is that what you like, or have you thought about trying to transition into doing something else as far as the visuals and everything for the people out here? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Say something so I know if you can hear me. I think your sound went out again. Okay. Oh, he's trying. However you had it to begin with, you got to do it like that again. Okay, people, he's going to try to go ahead and fix that, people. So right now, man, see, I didn't think that, people think that doing this gig work and how we do our shots, we have to make sure we got the right angle. Do we get when we're walking up to the door, coming back? When do we hit the button? We have to do all of these things. But see, like when you're dealing with like boxing, you have to look for specific shots and things that he said. But what he did do, instead of having him run all over the place and give himself a headache, he actually saves every fighter that he does. So you give or take, each fighter is gonna fight like twice or three times in a year. Give or take, he's already gonna have that footage. He's already gonna have that footage of each fighter right there. So he can actually save himself for a lot of time. That's very smart right there. So people pay attention to this. You got me on. I can hear myself there in that. But you got it on. Do you have two apps open?
What was that?
Oh, okay, I'm good. Okay, I just hear an echo. I thought I was okay. No, you're all good. You're all good. Okay, so we got through that transition. Okay, now, yeah, you do the traditional side by side. Now, is that the style that you want to make it more direct, or have you thought about like, or maybe I need some movement in, or do you want the still picture so that really the focus is on you and your delivery?
You're saying with the you said with the prediction. Can you repeat that the second part of the question?
Oh no, I was saying so like how you have your setup. You sit traditional with is this you and a still frame of the image. So
Yeah.
is it that way because you don't want movement to take away from what you're going to be speaking or anything, or do you want people to just focus mainly on your words and getting it in? Is that why you're in a still frame, or have you thought about adding in some highlights and things like that, or did you think adding in movement would take away from your delivery?
So there were a few videos where I did do a little bit of video, where I did do some video of, some video footage. I just didn't want to, I didn't want to show fight footage that I would later be on the hook for in terms of one, demonetization. Like if it's longer than a few seconds of licensed material. Yeah, I don't even know what the YouTube rules are as it pertains to that. But time consumption was another one. It was enough to get the stills up there. To then, I tend to overanalyze, so I would find myself looking for the perfect footage for too many different scenarios to where one, it would turn the video would go from being like a 18 to 20 minute video to being like a 38, 40 minute video because yeah, if I take an entire hour, I can fill up an hour analyzing like the moment by moment parts of the fight. But also if I show like a 10 to 15 second stretch of the fight, the first 8 seconds of that stretch might be matching what I'm discussing, but then like would the 7 to 8 seconds after that would it still pertain to what I'm talking about? I just felt that it was a lot more nimble and just flexible, being able to show a different flash image to kind of go to keep up with the rhythm of the conversation. You know what I mean? Of the talk.
Yeah.
But I will say that if I knew 100% that I was in the clear to use licensed video material, plus if there was somebody who like could help me out in queuing up the proper video for the different moments, yeah, if I had like that sort of a production like team, if you will, that would work. That would work tremendously, I think. But as it stands, I think that until I cross that bridge, that the still images and maybe some like some some descriptions, having some words in that same box area, kind of a back and forth between the two. I think that that's kind of the way to go right now. Now, I do think that I could find a more skillful way of implanting the image because right now I put in Premiere Pro they call it the black video, right? And then I move it over to the side so that it only occupies like the right side of the screen. So it's fixed. It's not like there's an image here and then the image could appear elsewhere later. I don't think that makes for the best thumbnails, so I need to find a way to kind of navigate a better visual layout. But in this particular stage, the split screen is going to have to work with that flashing image occupying the other side.
Okay. Yep. Now, I don't really gotta ask you this, but you know what? I am gonna ask you this. I have a list of questions that I already have here in my preset that I can ask any content creator anytime, and I can go off and add or take out of those depending on what it is that they do. So what I'm gonna ask you this is, and I'm gonna ask it in a way because obviously, this question is how do you stay fresh and how do you come up with the title of each episode? Obviously, what you do in boxing, so it's fighter versus fighter. Now, what I want to ask off of a spin off of that, have you ever had, the fighter versus fighter and added in your own type of title for the fight? Or do you use like if a fight says bad blood you go with that title that they're giving you, or have you made up your own title for your own thing when you're doing your breakdown for that fight?
Yeah. So okay. So there are a couple different styles of videos I'll do. Right. Aside from the lives, it'll be the preview video where it's just fighter versus fighter, and then I keep that one pretty basic. I keep fighter A versus fighter B, and then in parentheses I'll say a welterweight bout, preview and prediction, or WBA light heavyweight title bout, preview and prediction, something like that. So I do that for the previews. But for the more news-based, like boxing news-based videos that are more just kind of expanding on the conversation and it doesn't pertain to a specific fight, I'll say something like, is such and such fighter overrated? Is so and so emerging as the best middleweight in boxing? So for those ones, I have a lot more flexibility in how I would title that one. So those are the ones where I'll try to say, I did right before Manny Pacquiao fought Yordenis Ugas and then lost via decision to Ugas. The title had, it was basically a recap and kind of talking about Manny Pacquiao's top 5 wins, his 5 best wins. And so with those types of videos, I could get a little bit more creative in the titling of it.
Okay, right. Now, what keeps you consistent, okay? And how do you stay motivated? Because I myself, I'm not like most people. I like fighting and combat sports, so I watch. So I know what channel to go ahead and watch. I know who's involved with the Mayweather camp and what person is associated with this camp. And like you were saying, getting clearance on the action things. You got to figure out, those connections there. So I get what you're saying there. But how do you stay motivated and are like in this mix? Because there's a lot of people that do boxing videos. Now I do know that there's some people that really like to break down the history of boxing, and then there's people that like to throw in conspiracy boxing videos, like all this other stuff. So with all those things in boxing, how do you stay motivated and consistent?
I feel like if I stay in my lane, or at least in my lane adjacent, that it's going to eventually go far. It's kind of like the slow and steady wins the race type of thing. For instance, when Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder, just the first time, then the second time, and then you had a ton of videos that were talking about, Tyson Fury using something in his gloves, or the way that he was like putting the glove on. There were so many conspiracy style videos, and I'm thinking, usually when I'm discussing boxing, that's not the end. I'm just talking about when I'm talking like with family and friends about boxing, right? When I was growing up just watching boxing all the time, I wasn't talking about it like that. I would always talk about, the action, and then about the legacies of the fighters and what was actually taking place in the ring. When it comes to speculation, I'll keep that part measured. Like I'll hint at or introduce the conspiratorial idea, but then kind of compartmentalize it and say, but we don't know whether that's true or not. What we do know is such and such and such. But to stay motivated, to be honest, it's the excitement, just the pure excitement as a boxing fan that I genuinely feel week after week as the boxing calendar is getting filled out. So I will be asleep. I will roll over on the bed, pick up the phone, go to boxing scene, hit refresh to see if any new fight has been announced. Like I get that obsessive about it. So, whether it's a blockbuster fight, that that features a name that everybody's familiar with, or if it's like a lesser tiered, maybe regional, fighter where 2 fighters are coming from parts of the world that most people, from the United States wouldn't even be familiar with. I say, okay, I might not be as excited about this fight, but the algorithm, there's no exact science to it. Like, there's no exact science that says that the Anthony Joshua fight or the Canelo fight, well, Canelo's usually good, it's usually good for business, right? But with a lot of the fights that you think would take off, like maybe Teofimo Lopez or something like that, Deontay Wilder. Sometimes that video will underperform, but then I'll do a fight between Guillermo Rigondeaux and Joel Casimero, who is or John Rio Casimero from the Philippines, a lesser known fighter. That video, for whatever reason, takes off, and all of a sudden I've got like a bunch more Filipino or Filipino American fans because they were just hot on that fighter. And if had I said, you know what, that fight's not really worth covering or previewing, I would have missed out on that opportunity. So it's the idea that you never know which video is going to do well and which one's going to underperform. But yeah, the fleshing out of the calendar excites me fight after fight after fight. And also just I enjoy the process of making the videos. Like I get butterflies every time I set up the little phone tripod and I'm about to get going. Because I mean, I don't know what I'm going to say I know what I want to say, but I'm kind of thinking some of the stuff through as I'm really thinking about who I would give the edge to in any given fight. So if it wasn't for the excitement of the sport itself, I don't think that it would feel that automatic. But I wake up in the morning and I check the feed to see if there's anything breaking that'll be exciting to talk about.
Right. And you know what? I do that same thing when I'm doing my driving and I'm waiting for orders to come. I'm actually on my phone, like constantly looking for news all around the world. Whenever someone says like I've been getting people from the UK saying you're not getting enough UK news. That lets me know that they're watching there, or at least that person is. So I got to bring some more UK news. Now, I don't know exactly where they live, but as long as I bring more UK news, someone else in the UK might watch because of that person, and they might live around that area. You know what I mean? So I do that for Canada. Anywhere I can get the news from and bring it out, it's perfect. And I love when I get news from like a Western place that's kind of like here, because I can tie it and make it all seem the same. And you know how we grew up in Orange County, so we've worked with a lot of different people from different nationalities and things like that. So we actually know how to do it. You know what I mean? We know how to do that to make it happen. That's man. Boxing is, man, it seems more difficult to do a boxing video than it does anything else right now, people. Now, right now, are there any channels that you watch to keep your fire burning? Now, not you being motivated yourself, as far as you just explained that. Is there any channel out there that you look at like, you know what, that dude is on par with me, or I think that dude is a little bit better than me, and I know he's working just as hard as me, and I got to put it up like him because I feel like I should be where he is? Is there anyone like that you watch that's got your fire burning?
Yeah, so years before I started the boxing channel, I've been watching this one dude in particular for years. And to be honest, in terms of the following, he doesn't even have a crazy following. He doesn't. I mean, he's got loyal fans, the ones that do follow. He's got about maybe 18 to 20,000 or something like that. And he's been at it for like years and years. But I get the impression that he's not even trying to like necessarily maximize his following. I know boxing channels that have 10 times his following. But it's this dude, Richard Dwyer. He's got the voice of Vince Scully. He's a brother who looks like, if you look at Richard Dwyer, you'll see exactly who I'm talking about. If you look at Richard Dwyer boxing, but just know that brother that you're seeing on those videos sounds like Vince Scully. It tripped me out, and it was actually a homeboy who put me up on him. So I was listening to him for years, and he has his own tagline, but he talks at such a measured, like he talks at a pretty slow pace. It's almost delivery-wise kind of the opposite of me. Like I don't mind getting over my skis a little bit when I get excited about a particular aspect of a fight. He, on the other hand, I need to like speed up the video where you hit like 1.5 times speed or something like that, because his delivery is so slow paced. In fact, those that know me like closely, and they'll see that I listen to this guy, like if they're riding around in the car with me, I'll like turn it on. And it's kind of like a running joke based on his speaking cadence. People kind of mess with me about it. You know what I mean? Like they'll start to imitate the dude that I listen to. So
would he be
one of them.
Oh,
Huh?
excuse me there. I said, so would he be the equivalent of Hugh Hauser? You know who Hugh Hauser is? The interviewer that was always on, like, he always did the other stuff, speaks slow, but goes and does like the San Juan Capistrano interviews. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at this dude's picture right now. He looks like Kimbo Slice, Bubba Gump, and the Junkyard Dog. He looks like all of them put together. I didn't mean to stop you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. So he actually gives a fantastic, boxing commentary, and he's an OG. You know what I mean? He's seen the '80s. He's seen the '80s and seen like the end of the '70s. But he's a very thoughtful commentator. And his actual trade, he's an attorney. Believe it or not, he's an attorney up in the Bay Area. Jamaican brother who grew up in Queens, New York, is now a Bay Area attorney, and he does the boxing talk on the side. So I like Richard Dwyer a lot. I also like Boxing Wave. I think he just surpassed Dwyer in following. So now he's probably got maybe 20 something.
He's got 20,000. He's got like 20,005. I was on his live earlier. I think he had a live earlier. Yeah, he's got like 20,005 or something. Yeah, he had a live earlier.
I jumped in. I think I jumped into that live.
Oh yeah. Okay. We was there then. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know. That's what I'm saying. Boxing is such a niche sport. To watch a boxing video and not see the action and get the words, you are a boxing enthusiast. You know what I mean? And that's why I like your intro on your thing when you say if you like the boxing talk, you know what I mean? Hit that subscribe button. Because that's what we are going to get right there. Now that you're in the game, you got like 1.4K subs on this channel. You got 500 some subs on your other channel, so you're moving pretty good right there. What is your greatest challenge being a YouTuber, since you do have two channels? One's music and one is this. When you have both channels next to each other, and you think about it, what's the greatest challenge of you being a YouTuber?
The greatest challenge right now is that for me it's not paying the bills, right? So I've been working remotely since the pandemic, and that's basically I have to get creative on finding the pockets of time and then being able to maximize that time once I carve it aside. So it's basically keeping up with the calendar, the boxing calendar, because in most weeks there's going to be a fight on Saturday. So I know that that's at least one video that I'm going to be doing that week. And then I try to sprinkle in another one or two, maybe cover 2 to 3 fights and do proper previews on that, and then do the one live a week, and then do a recap. So usually after the Saturday night fight, I will be up late Saturday night doing a recap video on the big fight that took place that Saturday. So really it's finding the time and just then trying to find the additional time on working the music stuff in. And what makes that challenging is if it was one genre of music that I was interested in covering, that would be one thing. But I like classic rock as much as I like hip hop. So if I'm or current indie style rock, I like it all. So it's like you have to kind of navigate and be able to say, okay, so if I'm going to do 2 videos over the next week and a half, are they going to be previewing the new Kendrick Lamar album, or am I going to kind of work do one that spotlights a lesser known Pink Floyd album? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
basically, because the music calendar, it works in a similar way as the boxing calendar, except the boxing calendar, the fights happen on Saturday, and music gets released on Friday. So I can't keep up with both treadmills. What I want to do is, because another challenge, you were speaking of challenges, boxing previews are good for the week that they occur on, but it gets old like spoiled milk, right? Like after that fight takes place, what's the value in a preview video? The fight already happened, right? Now, if I was to do a video on something that from like a historical standpoint, like a video that I want to do called Klitschko versus Klitschko, Vladimir versus Vitaly, who would win? They would never fight, never in a million years. But who would win that fight? Who had the greater career? Who was the better fighter between the two? That type of video would have longer staying power because 2 months down the line, 1 year down the line, that's still a conversation that could be had. Whereas
Right.
a preview is only valuable for the week or the weeks leading up to the fight. But like music, if I'm covering a historical album, that has more longevity. Like there's a Led Zeppelin. I did a video on the only featured vocalist on any Led Zeppelin song, and I did a video specializing on that. I think that might be my highest music rank, my highest viewed music video. And it was super niche with a great band, with a historic band. But you could put paint where it ain't. If you could hit a nerve that's not being tapped, that talk about something that's not being over discussed, then I find that goes a lot further than if I'm talking about the same thing that everybody else is talking about.
Right. That's how Hot Facts is. That's why you are the Hot Facts boxing analysis. Man, you come in, you give it in a different way, brother. That's why you part of the team. Now check this out. How do you handle responsibility of being a mentor to thousands of subscribers?
Well, first, to be honest, to try to relieve myself of the stress of being a mentor to thousands of followers, I do try to create an environment, an ecosystem, but I try to keep it conversational where I like to go into the comments and discuss a lot of what was just discussed when people bring up interesting points and interesting topics. So, as much as I may be educating on the sport of boxing, I'm also learning from a lot of the people who are watching the videos because they are bringing up some points that maybe I wasn't considering. For instance, somebody brought up, with Gervonta Davis versus Raleigh Romero taking place this coming weekend, they said, hey, because he hurt his hand in that fight against Isaac Cruz.
Don't go there yet, Stanley. Don't go there yet. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Hold on on that. We about to get right in. Don't go there. I don't want your machine gun to go off. I don't want no. Hold off right there. Hold off right there, people. As you see right now, people, those questions are over. Those questions are over right there, people. But we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into this fight talk right now. Those questions are done now. It's strictly the upcoming dates, people. We're about to get into this now. I was about to unleash them right now on you guys on accident. That was my fault. I gotta keep them paying real quick. Keep them paying. So this is what we're gonna do right now, people. I'm gonna take a look at this boxing schedule. Okay, we're gonna look at it. Actually, before we get into this boxing schedule, let's go ahead and knock this out the way. All right, so we got the Celtics in the Heat, okay, and then we got the Warriors over there. We already we already pretty much know that the Warriors are gonna take care of business. They will be in the NBA Finals. Man, we know that. So when it comes down to, you got the Warriors versus the Heat or the Celtics? And who wins?
I think that the Celtics will ultimately beat the Heat in 7, and then I think the Warriors beat the Celtics in 6.
Okay, yeah. I think the NBA Finals is going to go 6 games because they have to have some money coming in. That's just what I think. Because I don't know team on that East. Miami might be, but no, there's not enough firepower. Look, here's what Steve Kerr did. Okay, he learned the triangle from Popovich, learned all that D'Antoni offense and all that. He mastered the triangle in a fast-paced game. How Popovich keeps, he just fills in. Once one player's done, you fill that spot. They have a system there. Steve Kerr has made a system how Popovich has in Golden State with the updated three-pointer. In Jordan Poole, when Steph gets old, Jordan Poole is Steph. They already have. That's why when they all got hurt, Draymond was like, "I'm just not gonna play. Let all those dudes get all the experience, so that when the regular team comes back, we just gonna kill everybody." They might win 2 more rings. LeBron has 4 rings. Steph has 3. So the Warriors win this one. LeBron's kind of he didn't hold it that long. You know what I mean? He didn't hold it that long. But what I'm about to do is I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this right now. Now we have right now. I'm gonna look in this weight class. I'm gonna look in this weight class of fighters right now, the 135-pound weight class, and we have the fighters that this whole thing is stupid right here as far as talent. George Kambosos Jr., okay, 20-0, okay. We got Lomachenko, we got Tank, we got Devin Haney, we got Teofimo right there, got Ryan Garcia right there, and Joseph Diaz is right there. Now, there's a lot of fighters right here. Now, my thing is with these fighters, 135 to 140. 135 to 140, it seems like even the fighters there are interchangeable. Who is really the best? Who's really the standout from 135 to 40? Because I think any one of those fighters can just go and fight. They all can fight each other. So who is the man right there? 135 to 140. Both weight classes, because they can both fight each other. They both can. These dudes are. I think these dudes in both these classes, dudes are holding off. I don't know. I think this is where the most action is. And I want to see a lot of these fights like back to back to back to back. But you being the boxing analysis, from the 135 to 140, who do you think really is really the one?
So Lomachenko has been the one, right, in recent years for basically the past era. The fight that should have been made that was never made was Lomachenko versus Mikey Garcia. To me, that was the lightweight super fight that I wanted to see, but because of promotional reasons, Mikey Garcia went the other way, ended up fighting 2 divisions up against Errol Spence Jr. Bad idea, but he did it. Right now, I would aside from Lomachenko, because he's kind of the established brand. He's the one who has shown that he is, fight after fight after fight, fighting at the top level. Shakur Stevenson is the one that might spoil the whole party from one division down. He's not at 135 yet, but I would say Gervonta Davis right now, which is interesting because around the time Teofimo Lopez had beaten Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez was the one who was looking like the complete package. He was boxing well. He has the put your lights out type of power, and it looked like he was the type where if you had to pick one between Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and Teofimo Lopez, that it would probably be Lopez. And at the time that they scheduled that Lopez versus Lomachenko fight, I thought that was a terrible idea for Teofimo Lopez. I thought that could be the type of it's there to be great, but that could backfire in a real way too. If you just get outclassed and beaten up to the point where it hurts your confidence going forward, it could hurt your development going forward. So I'm thinking, damn, Teo's 22 years old at the time, 23 years old. He has no business in there with Lomachenko. I know the kid's talented, but he's in over his head with this one. And then he went in there and did what he did, pretty much shook up the boxing world. Mm-hmm. So that was one of those where. And then oddly enough, follows it up with the next fight more than a year later in a fight that was rescheduled several times. Gets beaten up and outworked by George Kambosos, and nobody expected that either. So it's been very unpredictable. Just when you think that somebody has emerged to be the new guard, the new established order, the top of the division, then something like that happens. But if I had to pick it right now, I would say Gervonta Davis. I mean, he just went up to knock out Mario Barrios last summer. Keith Thurman went 12 rounds with him at 147. At 147, and you got Tank Davis going up. Basically a 130 fighter. Yes, he is at 135 now, but Tank Davis is a 130 guy who knocked out a proper big 140 fighter. 2 divisions up. So I would say Gervonta Davis. I think he's got the hand speed, he's got the underrated boxing ability, and he carries his power late. It's not something where he could just spark you in the first few rounds. He could knock you out in the first, the third, the ninth. It doesn't matter. So I would say Gervonta Davis. I just am skeptical on whether we'll see him in the fights that matter.
Okay, and and you know what? That's a big thing there. Now, my only issue with Tank is this. I feel that Tank, I think he's lazy. I think he knows how good he is, and he lacks mentally sometimes. I've seen him on not even doing an interview, just standing up with the camera shining on him, and he could barely stand up straight because he's wobbling over. You know what I mean? I think that one time what might happen to him, he may undertrain for a fight, do a Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas thing, go and party and stuff, and think you can go in there and win. As long as he keeps his head straight, I think he got it right there. Yeah, like you said, I think he's got it. Now, speaking of him, we're gonna get into him and Rolly right now. I'm gonna bring up this clip really quick of there's a lot of people out there that and I did the wrong thing. There's a lot of people out there that really do not know who this guy is. So and that's strange to hear. But there's a lot of people that don't watch sports and other things like that. And people just may click on it live right now just because they're on YouTube. So just for that being that, I'm gonna let you guys get a little taste of who Tank is.
Let's touch him up for the future in this fight. Oh my! Oh, and Cruz just staggered. Davis with them. Oh, counter left hand bouncing off the nose of Cruz.
At a time. So which shots are the more effective shots? I think Davis's left hand has been the more effective punch.
You think, maybe it's a boring fight. Maybe he's not fighting well.
Oh my! And he's become a one-handed fighter. That right hand, but it is delivering dividends.
Now there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people that felt that Tank did not get that. In the building, and then going back online, you got some diehards out there, but how he was unloading that right hand, it was like he was catching him like in the half step. Dude was half stepping, and that right hand was right there in his face already. When you can do that, like single that out for the judges to really see like you really are hitting with that leaves a lasting impact on the judges. You can go in there and throw a lot of punches and stay busy, but if you can consistently make somebody's head snap back, that's what the judges is looking at right there.
Yeah. We saw a lot of that with Shakur Stevenson against Oscar Valdez a couple weeks ago. A lot of head snapping back.
A lot of them. Now we got this fight going on, and these two people are Davis and Romero. They're in the same building, people. They're in the same building. If you guys don't know about this fight, go and check out how Romero he likes to talk. He's been wanting Tank since out forever. He's always said I can get him. He's always said I can get him. He's always said that. And right now he's about to get him. Now, people, this fight right here, I'm gonna let you guys see a little bit of who this guy is. Now, people, let me tell you this. If you guys don't know, Floyd Mayweather, and by the way, Floyd has a house out here in Riverside that I deliver to all the time. I have a video of me going to the actual house. Right, I go all the time.
Nice, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's over here. I have a video of it. I go there all the time. They tip pretty good too. I will say that they tip pretty good. Now, check this out, people. You're going to get a taste of the guy who wants to take this guy out. Look at this.
October 2018, it was later discovered that Yigan had also suffered a hairline fracture.
Oh, you talked about coming into this fight or anywhere. Oh,
but he gets tagged.
Dangerous punch. And even more dangerous.
Back with the left. And Romero holding on to the right. The southpaw using the jab. There's a couple of left hands on Romero. They hook. cross their legs and off balance like crazy. That as he got off the center line and able to sidestep to the right counter shot spot. And they're going to the body, the counter upstairs as Romero lands. Three-punch combination.
Able to move as much, and he's going to want to try to block.
That's we've already seen an elbow cause a cut under the left eye. We've seen human demolition derby, and we've seen referee Rafael Ramos earning his money and now deducting a point from Romero.
Now, people, I want you to take a look, though, people. Now, you guys see that right there. Yeah, look, he can throw a hard punch. He can definitely throw a hard punch. Now, he leaves himself open, people. He leaves that body open. If he leaves that body open like that, taking them shots, if he take a shot by Tank, leaving that body open, people, he may lower that chin and get hit with an angle that's gonna put him to sleep. People, but he will fight dirty. He will do some dirty boxing in the clinch. Try to get that sneak punch in. It can cost him if he loses a point against Tank, but he could get a little bit more crazy and do something else. But if he leaves himself open, he can get knocked out. But if he comes throwing them hard punches, he can take a punch though too. He can take a punch. If they stand and fight, it's not going more than 4 rounds. If they stand and fight, it's not going past 4.
I mean, I don't see how else the fight could play out other than them stand and fight, because I don't see Tank Davis being ultra cautious and just being super patient. And the thing is, like, I wish I could really just emphasize how much of a mismatch I feel this one is on paper. Just from an experience level, and Raleigh might one day be a really good fighter. He might develop into a really, really good fighter. But right now, he's still kind of on a street fighter level from a technical standpoint. He doesn't look at how exposed his chin is every time. Not only with the power punches, but with the jab as well. It's almost comical, like his level of street fighting, but it works. It's been effective thus far. I just think that this is not the type of opponent to test that against, that lack of skill against. But it's also a case where if Davis is under preparing, he could be exposed like anybody else. I just think that the chances of that happening are like less than 10%, less than 20%. I don't see the fight going past 6 rounds. I don't see how they could be in the same ring for 18 minutes and still be going after 6 rounds.
Right. You know what? I was looking at it like, when Oscar De La Hoya fought Arturo Gatti, and Arturo Gatti really thought that he can go in there and do that Gotti Mickey Ward against Oscar De La Hoya, and you can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't do that. That was pretty much like Ricky Hatton against Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Ricky Hatton was just like, he was open, the stance, everything, and it didn't take long for the really more skilled fighter to get him out of there. You know what I mean? Rosen looks like somebody at a bar. He go sleep him anytime. You know what I mean? Sleep him anytime. But he's too open. Like you said, his chin, and there's too much of a target for Tank to use him like a body bag. You know what I mean? There's like a heavy bag. Like he gonna hit them all in here. That chin is gonna drop, man. The chin's gonna drop. I'm gonna watch it happen.
Yeah, don't blink. I don't think that's one of those where you want to make sure that when you take a bathroom break between rounds, you get back out there by the end of the break between rounds.
Yeah, boy.
Because it could happen like that. And with him, I mean, he's a pretty big target as well. I just don't think he has the defensive skills to even carry it out several rounds. I don't see a scenario where he does.
Yeah, boy. No, I mean that's it there, people. So those are our predictions for all right. So I got Tank in 4 rounds. You don't think he's going past 6? I got Tank in 4. I got taken 4.
I've got taken about the same. I say 3 to 4.
Yeah, about 3 to 4. Yep. And what I think is, I think in the second round, I think there's gonna be like a real devastating hit in that second round. That's gonna make him that's gonna make him kind of like block himself the whole time to try to protect. And I think about time to start that 4th round comes, he ain't gonna have nothing else in him, and the fight's over. Now that's our predictions there, people. Now that's on May 28th, people. That fight is on May 28th. Now we also have on June 4th in Melbourne, people, and they're fighting in Australia. We have George Kambosos versus Devin Haney, 12 rounds for the undisputed lightweight title. What's your prediction on this one?
So this is actually my favorite fight on the calendar right now. There is not a fight that I'm looking forward to more than Kambosos versus Haney. Devin Haney over the past couple of years has been looking like one of the most skilled boxers. Like everything that Rolly Romero is not, Devin Haney is. Right? He's got probably the best defense in the division. So out of that whole crop that you had mentioned between Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Vasily Lomachenko, Devin Haney's probably the best defensive fighter out of all of them. So he's almost cut from a similar cloth as I would say older Floyd Mayweather, like Money Mayweather, not Pretty Boy who was stopping most of his opponents, but the more technically defensively responsible Money Mayweather, basically from we'll say after the Arturo Getty fight. So Carlos Valdemir and onward. That includes De La Hoya and everybody that he fought after that. So Devin Haney's one of the most technical fighters in the sport, pound for pound, but he's so young. I remember seeing him when he was fighting in Tijuana, Mexico. Like, his dad is from Oakland, Bill Haney. So they would go down to Tijuana, and that's where Devin Haney had like his first 12 professional fights. So you know how you have a lot of fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko who go the Olympic route. In fact, Lomachenko has 2 different gold medals from 2 different Olympics, right? Think about that. 4 years in between the Olympics, Lomachenko participated in both. Devin Haney took the other route. Instead of going to the Olympics, he turned pro like at 16 and a half years old. So he went to Tijuana, Mexico, started fighting grown men out there for his first like 12 to 15 fights. Then came back to Vegas, came back to the States, and then was fighting over there since. So he was actually trained for a good period of time by Floyd Mayweather Sr. when he was still 16, 17, 18, even when he turned pro. When he turned pro, it was with Mayweather Sr. I used to think he was like maybe one of Floyd, like I thought he might have been Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s son. I thought that they actually kind of resembled, like around their eyes area. And plus the fight style, I'm like, damn, is this a Mayweather and they're just not telling us? I thought that about Devin Haney, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got George Kambosos out of Australia, and he basically likes to throw combinations, tons of combinations. He's the one who upset Teofimo Lopez for all the belts. Mm-hmm. But George Kambosos, for a long time, and I mean for years, he was actually Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner. So when you look at his style, keep that in mind, because Manny Pacquiao would what? He would go in and throw flurries of 6 punches at a time, and then hop out, then hop back in. George
Left and right style too, yep.
Yeah. Kambosos does a lot of the same stuff. So I think that because this fight's going to be taking place in Australia, Kambosos' hometown, I feel like the crowd is I wonder if the crowd is going to influence the judges. I think it's going to be a close fight either way. But right now, my gut is kind of telling me that Devin Haney might edge the fight in the way that most people who saw Triple G versus Canelo won thought that Triple G deserved the win. But I think that it might, end up being a split decision win for George Kambosos. I haven't done the preview on this one yet, so I still have to think about this one a little bit more. But right now, I'm leaning razor close decision for George Kambosos. And okay. I think I forgot who it was. Somebody, when we were chopping it up before, brought up the idea of a draw. I don't think that's a crazy idea. I think that that's very, very possible in this one.
Yeah, you can kind of look at it like you would have to go back. You would have to go back like to the 80s, like a Sugar Ray it might play out like that Sugar Ray Hagler fight, even though Hagler really won that fight. Sugar Ray was putting on flurries at the end of the rounds. You know what I mean? That's why Oscar De La Hoya started doing that. You know what I mean? He's putting the flurries at the end of the round. But if you actually go back and watch that fight, Hagler was putting it on him. Hagler was putting it on him. If you go back and watch, but those flurries at the end. So this fight can turn out like that because this is skilled. Like defense and skill versus I'm about to angle your ass off and get you. Now we got another fight. We got one more fight we're gonna get into. Now you went into the bantamweights because I do know that they got this Japanese bantamweight dude that I'm seeing. You know the Asians are in the bantamweights. They down there like 108, 112. They got this one dude. I don't know his name, but I know he has a fight coming up. He's Asian, and he's got. I just can't. You know what? When I'm watching them dudes, and I'm watching them dudes devastate people with that power, I'm like, man, but you weigh 108 pounds. So like, do you really like to watch the bantamweight and the fly straws, or do you like? No, those are the most action fights. Don't get me wrong. Those are the most action fights. Pound for pound, those are the most action fights. They got win forever. Mighty Mouse, Demetrius. They got stamina like him. You know what I mean? I like it like that, but I'm just like, are you gonna watch any of these bantamweight fights coming up on June 7th in Japan?
So,
These might be one of those fights that you say, it may not be like the drawing that someone may want to watch, but they may have a crazy following behind them, huh?
So you might be talking about Naoya Inoue at 118 from Japan.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So Inoue is about to fight somebody who was kind of a pound for pound top 5 guy for like years, right? Out of the it's actually a Filipino dude from the Bay Area, Nonito Donaire. So Nonito Donaire.
Oh, hold up, push pause. People, I did that on purpose, people. I said he looks Asian. People, did you hear me not give the person's name and say what he looks like perfectly? He just broke down, people. He broke down exactly everything. I'm telling you. Go subscribe to the man's channel. He's great. I'm just giving out little things, people, so you guys can see actually how sharp he is when it comes down to the boxing and the fight game. Now, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, this is like one of those. This is kind of the 118. Thank you for that, by the way. But this is kind of the bantamweight Super Bowl, because Nonito Donaire is about 40 years old. He was one of the best fighters about 12 years ago. His prime is long past. In fact, I remember a couple fights from Nonito Donaire like maybe 6 to 8 years ago, and I thought Donaire was done. I'm like, he's not looking the same. He doesn't crack the same because he's got blistering power like Naoya Inoue, the monster from Japan, has. It's like similar knockout power with one of the most beautiful left hooks in boxing, Nonito Donaire, the Filipino from the Bay. But he was looking like he was all but done. But then a couple years ago, he hit a career resurgence where he started beating better and better fighters again. And then he started taking out the champions, not by decision, but by stoppage. So Nonito Donaire has beaten 2 champions in that lower division because he's bounced around from like 122 to 126. 126 ended up being too big for him. He got knocked out badly by Nicholas Walters. But he got outclassed by Guillermo Rigondeaux out of Cuba, back down at 122. So then he goes down at a lower weight class than he's ever fought. Ends up knocking out champions there. And this is at 38, 39 years old. So this is basically like the final chapter of Nonito Donaire's career, and he's looking almost as good. I would stop short of saying as good as his absolute prime when he was one of the best pound for pound, top 5 pound for pound guys in the sport. But I would say that this is the closest he's looked to being in top form that I've seen. And so he's about to fight somebody, and this is actually a rematch. Naoya Inoue out of Japan, he's still undefeated. He is actually on a lot of people's current top 5 pound for pound in the sport. And
yeah, so he's giving people the business. That's what I said. This dude be giving people the business. His little lightweight self, dude.
Yeah, crazy power.
With it.
Crazy power. So, the first time that they fought was in 2019, and that was actually most people's fight of the year of 2019. I would encourage anybody to pull up YouTube, see if they could find Nonito Donaire versus Naya Inoue one, and the spellings are kind of funny, so we could put that maybe like in the chat or something. But it was an instant classic, and so this is the rematch to that one. And Naya Inoue.
The scroll is on the bottom. The scroll is on the bottom. They can see the scroll. The scrolls got their names down there. I'll put it there.
Yeah.
Now, here's the very last fight before we get in just to the very last, just two little questions. Here's the very last fight. Very last fight, people. Now, this one's going to be July 23rd, people. Saudi Arabia, people. This is a DAZN. This right here is a DAZN one. Now, we have Alexander Usyk, people, versus Anthony Joshua. Here's what I feel about this one right here, me, myself. I think Usyk is about to give it to him very, very badly. I think Andy Ruiz exposed Joshua to the point that his boxing is definitely I don't know. His boxing has been exposed. Andy Ruiz went in there and did his thing. Even though Joshua won that next fight, Ruiz didn't even train. He let the fame get to his head. He was out of shape, all of that. But Usyk has the fast feet, the left, the right. He has enough power. He's not afraid. He looks like Evander Holyfield before he was a heavyweight. Evander Holyfield was like a cruiserweight. He was a light heavyweight coming out the Olympics and everything like that, but he was a cruiserweight, people. He was a small heavyweight. He just looked swole. He was a small heavyweight, but he had the skill and the power, the speed, the quickness, move left and right, the determination. I do feel that that Usyk is going to go ahead and take care of Anthony Joshua. I don't know where Stanley just went. I don't know where Wood went. I don't know where Wood went. I was looking at the boxing thing. I was on the wrong screen. I don't know where Wood went, but hopefully he can get back in because I want to get his winner on that one. And if not that one, I want to get the winner of Canelo Triple G. That's the one right there. But, oh, here he is here. Bam. Yeah. Here he is here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So I was oh no, you're all right. So I was saying, did you hear any of that?
I heard the intro. I got to about the Middle East part, but I think I cut out right after you were getting into it.
No, I was saying Usyk. Okay, yeah, I got him over Anthony Joshua, and I'll go back over it. Here is why I have him over Anthony Joshua. I think what Ruiz did was expose the lack of boxing that Joshua is putting out there like he is. He's just a big dude, got some size. If you look, he's not fluid like that. He's a buff, bulky guy that's kind of like robotic, kind of robotic. And what Ruiz did was it showed that if you get someone in front of him that has actual boxing skills, that actually knows how to box. Ruiz is a Mexican heavyweight, like a real Mexican heavyweight. He's fighting like a middleweight or a welterweight as a heavyweight. You know what I mean? So he's doing that. So what he did was he was able to get left and right and do his thing over on Joshua, and that showed some stuff. Now this right here, I think that Usyk is go get in there and smash him out the same way. And I think it's going to be an outclassing because of all the angles that Usyk can come from and how he knows how to punch and get in there and bounce in, bounce out. And I look at Usyk like Evander Holyfield. Evander was like a light heavyweight in the Olympics and then cruiserweight, you know what I mean? He was a small heavyweight. People don't realize Evander was a small heavyweight. His muscles just look big. But he was a small heavyweight that had the ability to move laterally, left and right, get in there, punch. He was a dirty boxer. He used some of that. But I think Usyk, if he really wants to outclass Joshua. He got to use some of that dirty boxing too, but I don't think skill-wise, I don't think Joshua is even on the same skill level as Usyk. Skill-wise. Now, power, obviously, he's got power, and if he can hit you with that stiff robotic jab that he got an old Klitschko with, you know what I mean? If he can hit him with that, if Usyk doesn't move side to side, if Usyk is not moving side to side, I think there's something up with the fight. That's just what I think personally.
You know, the person who has to make the adjustments at this point, given what happened in the first fight where Usyk did in fact outclass him, is Anthony Joshua, right? So he's going to figure out something different. He can't go into the rematch with the same game plan that, hey, I think I could win a technical boxing match against this smaller fighter. I feel like he almost needs to like pull a page out of like a George Foreman or somebody, where you push somebody off of you and then you punch them. You use your body in a way where you're not at arm's length for the whole fight. But you try to, and this is where the problem comes in, because Usyk has better feet than Joshua. So like, and better hands than Joshua. Joshua's going to have some difficulty, right? You know, back in the day, people, you know, would slap box, right? And you would know when you're getting the jump on somebody just based on the coordination, but based on the speed, based on, again, throwing like the hit, like at off time, like where you kind of like flinch or you fake to draw a flinch out of them and then smack, you know, like the people who could slap box well, those were some of the things that they had going for them. Or hot hands was another one of those quick hand coordination type games. I get the feeling that Alexander Usyk would smoke Anthony Joshua in slap boxing or hot hands. And when you then put the gloves on, and the fact that it's a heavyweight fighter, that's bad news, because I don't care if Joshua, you know, outweighs him by what, maybe 20 pounds on average, maybe 245 against 220, 225, something like that. At that point, it doesn't matter if the guy hitting you is 220, 230, 215, 210. He's big enough to hurt you. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the smaller Usyk ends up knocking Anthony Joshua out, stopping him this time. I mean, he got pretty close in that 12th round of their first fight. So right now, I'm going to, you know, give it a closer look. But right now, unless I have confidence that something is going to drastically change in Anthony Joshua's ability or game plan, I think it's going to be more of the same. But this time, I think Usyk's going to be emboldened to put his foot on the gas even a little bit more to try to get the stoppage.
Right. Now, like you brought up what I was thinking, the George Foreman angle, you know, like he like the push off and thing. The only difference is George Foreman actually had a jab. George Foreman actually knew how to push you off and snap you with a jab. I think that's what Anthony Joshua needs to watch some film on. I think he needs to watch how Big George would utilize that jab. Like if he can throw a Big George jab in this fight will be over in 5 rounds. If Joshua can do a George Foreman, you know, not young George Foreman, not when he was doing the hoof. No, I'm talking about once he saw, okay, I have a jab. That George Foreman. If he can mix that George Foreman with an old George Foreman, Usyk can't beat. You know what I'm saying? That was the master of he had the real Philly roll and you know, and all of that. Now Joshua's gonna have to look. He will have to look. That's perfect. He needs to look at George Foreman, old George Foreman, Michael Moore, George Foreman. Make the young dude keep coming in. And you can keep setting them up with that 1-2, that jaw go pop. If don't, hey man, that might be what he needs to do. Look at that. Forget all the other films. Look at that George Foreman, Michael Moore fight.
And you know, you know, Teddy Atlas was training Michael Moore for that fight, and he was trying to warn him between the rounds, like he's trying to set you up. Don't get careless. He kept on trying to warn him, and what happened? Yeah. You know, so suggesting that Anthony Joshua, you know, take a page out of the George Foreman book, you know, it sounds ideal. It sounds good, but are we kind of like asking like Dinwiddie to turn into like AI or something? Like, yeah, sure, it will work, but you know, at the end of the day, that's not what you got.
That's Joshua's fault though. That's Joshua's fault for holding the belts, beating the old Klitschko and holding the belts like that. Right now, that's what he gets. That's what he gets. You put yourself up there like that. We have to say, you look at that George Foreman, because you had all the belts. You know what I mean? All that but that's what he put himself up there. He wants to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. You gotta start putting yourself up there. Now, this last fight right here, Triple G. Okay? Triple G and Canelo. Okay. Now, this is a legacy fight. It can be a retirement fight for both of them. Or this is the only fight, because Terrence Crawford and them don't fight. This is about to be their third fight. You know what I mean? It's about to be their third fight. The other dudes that don't fight can't come into the same realm with these two dudes. These are the only two dudes that beat up everybody. And the only person that they cannot beat up is the person that's a mirror of them. You know what I mean? They run through divisions and dominate them. And then when they fight, it's damn near what? Isn't the punch count like damn near? It's like damn near the same punch count or something. Like all the rounds are pretty much even every single round from when these two have fought.
So Golovkin usually edges the. Golovkin's been edging the punch count over Canelo, but Canelo was landing more power punches. So Golovkin was landing like 70% jabs or something like that, especially in the second fight.
So pretty much it's a mirror. So no matter it's a mirror. Now here's how I feel this fight right here. Whoever wins this fight is the face for the era. Whoever wins this fight is the face for the era, especially for, I would say, middleweight. I would say from 154 to 168, because just like Sugar Ray, Hagler and them, they from 154 to 168. That's what you're gonna be fighting in. These two, no one can take these two down. You got to draw. Every fight, both fights could have went either way. I think this fight is gonna be the complete opposite. I don't know who's gonna get the knockout. But I feel the knockout is not going to come like he went and just beat somebody up and got a knockout. I feel it's going to be a knockout kind of like a Tarver Roy Jones shot that no one saw coming, and that's how the fight's going to end. No one saw the punch coming, and that's how. And I don't know which fighter is going to land that shot, because if you don't know which one. But I think that's how it's going to end, on like a Tarver type. Did not even see that shot coming.
Wow. Okay. So with this one, I actually think that, I actually rewatched their second fight today. I rewatched the fight, and, that fight took every bit of Golovkin's effort. It took out every bit of both of their efforts. Golovkin actually had Canelo hurt a few times late in the fight, but with this third fight, I think that, first of all, 40-year-old Golovkin is not going to be as durable as 36-year-old Golovkin. So I am looking for Canelo to actually go to Golovkin's body, especially after seeing Golovkin's very recent fight against Ryota Murata out in Japan. Mm-hmm. Like, Ryota Murata was bothering Triple G with those shots to the body, and you saw the effect, and you saw Golovkin didn't like that at all. He was able to do something about it with Murata. I don't think he's going to be able to do as much about it against Canelo, and I think Canelo knows that. So I'm actually looking for the body attack to be the primary reason why Canelo's able to score a late stoppage of Triple G. I think that I would go Canelo via late round stoppage. And I'm one of the people who thought Triple G won the first one, and I thought the second fight could have gone either way between the two. That one was really hard to score. Thought the first fight was a little bit easier to score, and I thought that Golovkin should have edged it. Still a good fight. I thought Golovkin won it. But this third fight, right now, my gut's telling me Canelo via late stoppage. And I think that the body's going to have a lot to do with that.
Okay, people, you heard that from the man himself. What's good, Wood, people? If you have not checked him out, go ahead and check out his channel, people. Dude has a lot of knowledge. He knows his thing. He knows the fight game. He spits it in and out. And I want you guys to know this is the Hot Facts boxing analysis. Okay, so whenever he's a busy man, whenever I can pull him in, he'll be able to come in on whatever fight. Let's say we got Olympics coming up or whatever, boxing trials or whatever's going on. We'll be able to pull him in. He also does know the UFC. People, we can go ahead and get into stuff like that, but this is What's Good Wood. Now, these next questions are questions that everyone who's going to be coming in here sitting down, you got to go through these questions right here. And these are the questions before we roll on out. Okay?
Let's do it.
Now, people, we're in California, people, so you guys may not you may not agree with some of these answers right here. Okay? Let's go like this. Doggy style or the chronic?
Ooh, doggy style over the chronic.
Okay. Ice Cube or Scarface?
Cube. Sorry.
Okay.
That one's tough. I know they're yeah, Cube.
Bone Thugs or Migos? Oh yeah. Okay.
Call me Mr. Bill Collector. Yeah.
Money was up tonight. Yeah. We thought it was good. Hey, they can't get us for that. We singing a song. All right. Now let me see. We gonna do it like this. Okay, that was a good one right there. I had the next one too. Where did it go? All right, we're gonna go like this. Hamburger, hot dog.
Hamburger.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
All right. He's like, oh yeah, no, that's a good one. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes. All right. So, people, we are here in California. So let me see. Let's do it like this. Roscoe's in LA or Roscoe's in Long Beach?
Whew, I've been in Long Beach for the past few years. Where I'm in Long Beach right now. But I got to go with Sunset and Gower. Unless you're talking are you talking Manchester, Pico, or Sunset and Gower?
Pico. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I like Pico myself. All right. We got that there. All right. So people, look, we got the chicken spots out here. Okay. Now you can name any chicken spot you want. Favorite chicken spot.
Tough. I'd still say Louisiana.
Oh, okay. Now people. Yeah. Now
there was one on Rosecrans. Rosecrans around Central that we were going to frequently. Not too far from El Segundo.
It's by the airport. It's still right there. Yeah, it's still right there. You got Central, Wilmington stuff. It's still sitting right there. Louisiana's right there. My aunt stayed right across the street. My nephew, it's still there. Cause my favorite is the Louisiana on the west side of Long Beach. Because they got the fish in there too. You can go get that Louisiana fish with the chicken. So
let me ask you this: how far west are you talking? Are you talking like Magnolia, Daisy West, or like I'm around like Alamitos, Atlantic West?
Oh well, kind of Santa Fe, Warlow.
Okay.
Warlow. That's kind of like that's right. Okay, yeah, Santa Fe, Warlow West, right off the. You got Santa Fe and Warlow right there. You got Silverado Park right next to Silverado Park. It's connected right there. Now, if you are coming off of Warlow, and let's say you're coming up Atlantic, you make that right on Warlow. Right when you get to Santa Fe, you make that left. It's gonna be right there. It's gonna be that right there. Now, now we're gonna go like this, people. We are in California, people. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go Laker ball talk right now. Okay, I want your Laker Mount Rushmore.
How many? So I get 4.
I'll give you 5.
5. 5. Yeah. Does this include coaches, GMs, and non players?
We're talking about whoever is considered a Laker, if you are considered a Laker, now think about that though. Yeah, think about that. If the Lakers organization considers you a Laker.
Okay. Magic Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
Jerry West,
Mm-hmm.
Elgin Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say Jerry Buss, even though he would be there. I want to say Pat Riley, but then if I can't go Pat Riley and not say Phil Jackson. I mean, I can, but so we got Kobe, Magic, Baylor, West. It's not Chamberlain. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay. You went player right there with Kareem. I was gonna go for my 5, Chick Hearns.
You know what? I kind of want to revise mine. I feel like Chick Hearn is like my basketball Bible. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Now check this out. A lot of people don't know that a lot of the deals that happened to getting the players to come to the Lakers, that was Chick Hearns. A lot of people don't know while calling games, Chick Hearns was the man pulling things on that plane and working things out. People, he has a statue in front of Staples sitting there, and we all know who Marge is. People, Chick missed 1 game because Marge was sick. People, and that was the only one. That was the only
years
one.
for decades.
For decades. All right, we gonna end it up like this. Okay, I do the food thing and doing all that and showing people you are a customer. Now, how often do you order, like, let's say DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Grubhub? And which one do you order from the most?
I would say we order like that maybe twice a week, about twice a week, and I would say. So you know how a lot of the restaurants also will have that what's that toast one? They'll have their internal toast app. I've been seeing a lot of that lately, and there's one specific restaurant that automatically defaults to that. But outside of that, it's been.
I know what that is too, because check this out. That is called. It's a company that I'm actually signed up for. It's called Best Deliveries and Get Swift. That's how it looks on our end. On your end, it looks like that. Yeah, that one is in Long Beach, Santa Monica, Hollywood, and San Diego. Specifically, you get your orders in 30 minutes or less, and it's specifically right there for the city. It's not like an Uber Eats or DoorDash. It's its own thing, and the drivers come. So outside, because you don't even know what company those are coming from when when we go and drop those off. So I'll take that one out. You know, the other ones. Which one would you say you trust more when ordering?
I don't even think it's been about trust so much as it's been about us finding a lot of the restaurants that we'll test and order from on Yelp, and so Yelp already has Grubhub built in. So so I would say that it's been like maybe 60-40, 60 or I'd say maybe 60. Well, let's say 50-30-20 between. I'd say it's been Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats in that order. And again, I'd say most of that has been because we're looking at Yelp to basically see, okay, what haven't we had? And so we're going to say, well, what do you want? Do you want some like Latino and Asian fusion? Okay, so what are the top 15s? And so as soon as you click the button to start your ordering process, you're already Grubhubbing without even knowing it, right? So that's how some of that has gone down.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of customers that get mad when they go to a restaurant and then they think it's the restaurant, and then when they see like a DoorDash driver pull up, the people get mad because they're like, "Why is DoorDash coming up?" Well, that's who they outsource that to go ahead and drop it off. Some people get mad that it's not the actual restaurant that's dropping it off. That's hilarious. Now, when you are getting your orders and you tip, I know before you said you normally tip 20%. Now, do you tip more if the service is great, or do you leave it the same?
I'll usually tip. I think one of the boxes is also 25. I'll usually tip between 20 and 25. I think I see 25 on there often, but it's usually a minimum 20, which different than my in restaurant. Here's a question: like, if you're going to pick up, right? If you're going to pick up instead of having anything delivered, I tip less on the pickup, obviously, than on the delivery. The delivery requires effort. It requires a level of service. But I would just say it's generally a standard 20-25%, and that's usually because, like, rarely have people just come terribly late, right? Where I would want to tip less. And I'm tipping in the app before I even know how long it's going to take for them to get here. So the tip's already established. Yeah, so it's not a tip that's happening at the point of contact. It's happening at the point of sale. So I have a built-in 20+% tip, which I guess means that whether they arrive in 25 minutes versus in 45 minutes to an hour 15, the tip is generally going to be the same. I've offered cash tip after the fact, but I usually actually have that turned down. But this was years ago. I don't know if they would still turn down if I offered it, but they turned it down because it was already an in-app tip. But I usually don't tip below 20%.
You tried to tip after, and they wouldn't let you, is what you're saying.
Oh, they just didn't accept it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. The only way to tip after the fact like that, you would have to call the place. But like on Uber Eats on the actual app, when your tip is there, you can actually, when the driver comes to give you your food, you can look at it and adjust it to give them more. And on Uber, let's say if it's a really long wait and stuff like that, or the person forgot this and the customer specifically asked for stuff and the driver did nothing, driver was late, on Uber Eats, the customer can reduce the tip or take it away. Now they can also give you more based on your service on Uber Eats instantly. So yeah, so like when you tried, you would be able to do that on Uber Eats. On DoorDash, you have to call, and on Grubhub, you have to call also. If you try to do it through, like, let's say like Yelp through the restaurant, you can't do it at all. You would have to give them extra tip in cash. That's how that works.
So why wouldn't Grubhub and Uber Eats build in the same mechanism as DoorDash in that case to make it convenient to additionally tip or reduce, whatever the call is?
Oh no, yeah, Uber Eats allows you to, right on your phone, right then and there. You can add more, take away, or leave it the same. DoorDash doesn't have that. You have to actually call, try to get online with customer support, call them and say, I want to add more tip for my driver. They don't allow it to go like that. And Grubhub is the same. Well, Grubhub I think is a little easier, but Uber is the only one where you can literally look at your order. You know how you can look and see where the driver is coming from? You can actually look on your app, bam, click on it. Okay, I want to add more tip even before he gets there. Now, once you see, let's say the driver got there, he had all the extra stuff, or who did all that stuff, you can actually add more to it, and then it lets the driver know just like that. DoorDash and the other ones don't allow you to do that. That's why I only drive for Uber Eats. I give great service on the platform where the customer, because of who you are, can give you more based upon how you interact and do with that customer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's my niche right there. That's why I do all my customer service, and I take the orders that I take. That sometimes you'll see people say, "Why are you taking that order?" That's why, because they can give me more, because the other drivers don't do that stuff. So, some people like you order off of Yelp, so you can't do it. So what it is what it is. You know what I mean? So people tips 20 to 25%. Now let me ask you this: let's say they drop off your food, the stuff is wrong, the driver didn't call you at all to tell you. Do you get upset about that? You get upset about that, or just say, oh, whatever, it was probably the restaurant, he didn't know?
Both. I get upset, but then say, oh, whatever. So I think it's one before the other.
Yeah. See, and that goes hand in hand. See, that's why on Uber Eats, I make sure to contact, well, even on all of them, you make sure you contact stuff like that just to seal it up for the customer. So I don't want no frowns. I don't want no crowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no crowns means, and people say, well, everyone doesn't tip like that extra. I'm not going for everyone. Only the people that think like that are the ones that's going to give the extra. And if those people give the extra, then you're making more money because you tapped into their circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You tapped into a circle that the other people don't know how to tap into that circle, so they don't make that extra. I tap into it. Yeah. That's how you make information. That's how you make extra. That's how you make extra without working extra hard. Work smarter, not harder. If you can get more off of one order without going out wasting time, then I'm gonna do that every single time. And that's how it works. That's how I get
target marketing. Yeah, that's good targeting. Yeah.
Yeah, boy. So people, I want you guys to I want to thank you guys for watching this interview. It went a little bit longer, people, because boxing, I wanted you guys to get the full detail. We finished up with this. People, this is What's Good Wood. Let the people know where they can find you at, man.
What's Good Woog? 3 words. That's I believe that's my name here. What's Good Woog? That's a YouTube channel. What's Good Woog is also my Instagram. That's also my Twitter. That's also my TikTok. It's all What's Good Woog. But I do have one additional channel, and that is Woog Talks Music, and that's on YouTube only. So What's Good Woog across all platforms. Woog Talks Music, YouTube only. If you're, for lack of a better term, into the music talk, and we cover it all: hip hop, rock, everything in between.
Yeah, boy, people, you heard it from the man himself. All of you that will be joining this, the ones who stopped in, bounced out, the people that will watch this as a replay, I want to thank you guys for watching. You will see What's Good Wood on future episodes and giving his expert opinion. Okay, people, remember, he has to be biased, okay, unbiased. He has to give an objective opinion on the boxing because he has to break down the boxing talk. So if you are into that, subscribe to the man's channel, people. You guys know me. I'm going to be out like Chuck Woolery in 2 and 2. Yeah, buddy. Let me hit